Hold
You
on.
all
Okay.
keep meeting for bits.
God, are his brain cells just gonna get divorced?
And then all the sounds play at once.
It may be your internet. Your internet could be just, going in and out.
Who are you talking
What?
with?
Not a
Who are you
clue.
talking with?
What? Where?
Oh.
Do you guys have KD bot muted?
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yes.
this
No.
isn't my fault.
I thought
Yes.
you meant music for a second. No, I don't.
Just make sure you don't have KD bot muted because, it'd be kind of hard to talk.
It's just Katie
I
Bot
just
sounds way
muted
too
it
much like
because-
Siri, and my brain just blocks out that sound.
Oh, God.
I just muted it at the start because people were using KD bot for spamming.
Okay.
I'm
Don't look at me.
disabled. I need KD bot to talk.
Yeah.
Ah, I see.
Hi, Angel. What you doing?
I can't speak Earl.
It's alright.
My baby go. Put your ears down.
Damn it.
It
Find
sucks
some
eggs.
a nap. Should mute my phone.
So, let us introduce ourselves one at a time. I am the magnificent Disturbed Engineer, DM, and ruler of the game. Next, we have Garter. Explain yourself and your character.
Garter is Barbarian Goliath, who has the totemic spirit of the dreaded Owlbear.
Dun, dun, dun. Next, we have Kion. Describe
Keone.
Describe thine character.
I'm gonna start yelling it at you every time.
Fair enough.
I'm Keone. I'm the rabbit folk sorcerer. You know me. I've been here a lot.
Indeed. Next, we have Wetware.
I am Wetware, cybernetic traveler from the data hive mind.
And together, they form an unstoppable team of gamers.
Are we all like split up right now?
I'm pretty sure that's quite stoppable.
Yep.
Do we?
Plus, gamer. I hardly even know her.
So right now, Wetware's in her room, Garter is in his room, and you're in Hector's room.
Don't they share a room?
It's different rooms within a room. Like in a dormitory.
Wetware is not female.
Wetware is non-binary, correct? Okay.
No.
I won't assume. I was trying to make a joke about binary code. Oh, okay.
Well,
Wetware
that
is
would
a
make
male.
them
Male cyberknights can
non-binary.
fly.
Then that would make them.
Okay, Wetware is male. Got it.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm in my room.
Now, since we're going to start off with Garter and Wetware. As you both awaken early in the morning, very early, in fact, about 5 a.m., you both are a little groggy, but fine enough. What would you like to do?
Well, I guess Garter will go
Scuttle.
get breakfast.
You both go to the dining hall. Well, where Scuttle's behind.
I scuttle after him.
You both are starting to get used to the floating up and down of the college dormitories as you walk towards the main hall, through it, and into this beautiful, lavish dining hall. where you see many and many people are eating. There's floating balls of light. There's giant mirrors that reflect different realms, each showing off how different yet similar each place looks to each other.
Wow. Nice paintings.
You both take a seat, and you notice that there isn't a place to get food. Rather, there's everywhere you go, there's cleaned plates. As you both sit down, both of your favorite meals appear. What's your favorite meal, Wetware? And what's your favorite meal, Garter?
Would it be weird if Garter said, blue rare?
What's blue rare?
Think of rare, but rarer.
Double the batteries.
Okay. So, you watch as Wetware's plate is filled to the brim with AA batteries. Weird cylindrical metal things with a little A inscribed upon them in white. While you get a
Ooh,
cow
rare
that's... and you get a giant 32-ounce double rare steak where it's practically still bleeding. Katie Bot needs to catch up.
You organics
Nobody.
confuse me.
How dare you? How dare you ask if I would use ketchup on steak?
So,
Sorry, you asked fucking what?
what?
You asked if he put ketchup on steak?
Who?
I'm vegan and I know that's definitely incorrect.
Wait, who said that?
You said any of you need any ketchup, no?
Who?
You did.
No, I didn't.
Did you not say ketchup?
No, Kate.
Gonna be sick.
KD Bot said you organics confuse me. Are you
I know
okay,
you said
Garter?
something.
Are
I
you
definitely
hearing something?
didn't hear. I didn't hear the bot.
Why would you
Okay, be quiet for a second. Be quiet for a second.
You pass information by squirting air through your meat flaps. You put ketchup on steak and you die if you ingest battery acid.
It's the way of life.
You die if I pour universal solvent on you. I wouldn't.
What silly creatures you are.
You die from water.
You watch as you guys have basically this whole table to yourself. As you notice that each table, as soon as people sit on it, it kind of floats up, so they kind of don't need to intermingle with each other if need be. But students can still float up and sit down, and that exactly happens to your table. As you see, a student wearing. Hold on, let me double check this. I need to check this. Where is it? Okay, hold on. A magenta robe flies up and takes a seat. She is. You see, you don't get a good look at her until she takes a firm seat. You see that it's a. You don't know if it's a young girl or not because of her elvish ways. She has extraordinarily dark skin and almost completely white hair that goes down all the way down to her elbows. She has vibrant purple eyes, and well, one of the few things that you notice in a drow is her figure's she's very filled out. As she looks like a big old puffball. As she sits down and says, "You two look unique." as the plate immediately puffs up and turns into a little cupcake with chocolate drizzled on top of it, and it seems to be red.
What gave you that idea?
She kind of shrugs and takes a bite out of the muffin and says, "I don't know, but I like it. Which hall do you guys want to go to?"
Garter starts counting on his fingers to try and remember.
Okay, so...
Yes, evocation.
Ooh, that's a scary one. I'm just doing the potion stuff. As she takes another big bite.
I babble an extremely rapid binary code.
Huh. Actually, I need to roll for this.
It contains all relevant if you speak binary.
Can you roll a... Just roll a d20 for me. I want to see something. Yes, you... Where? I need to start saying names.
I can't find the rolling Chanel.
It's in combat and skill checks. It's alright. Take your time.
Nine.
She looks at you and says back in binary, interesting.
My antenna wiggle in light.
As you watch as she takes another big bite of the muffin, and after finishing it up, another one appears on her plate, and she says, You guys are new here. I didn't see you last semester. It's always fun to see new people here."
Curious. The cupcake suddenly transforms into a muffin. This is obviously a sign that this character is secretly evil.
Or... Think about it.
No, I can't comprehend any other result.
How can a person have two different favorite things?
That would be very curious.
It's almost like they have a different mind to them.
Garter has only one brain.
I was told the sole difference between a cupcake and a muffin is icing.
No, cupcakes are cold, muffins are warm.
I think this is an American versus British thing, and we're just gonna leave
Sure.
it.
It is totally
All cupcakes
not.
become muffins should you eat the icing first.
The difference between
No.
cupcakes and muffins is literally the ingredients.
Yep, I think that's right.
They are not the same thing. They are the same concept, maybe, but they are not the same thing.
The original envisionment of cupcake, you were supposed to cut off the bottom and put it on top and eat it like a sandwich.
Honestly, I respect you for
They
that.
are the same concept.
Yeah, I said they're the same concept.
I think she was agreeing with
But
you.
they're different ingredients, so they're different.
We're doubling
Object
up
type
on
muffin
too many foots.
and object type cupcake have
you
many
said-
similar properties because
You
they're
said
both
this is a
derived from
British
object
versus
type
American thing.
pastry.
That much
I'm-
sense.
More of like how it's like in America we took out the U's in a bunch of
Foods.
names.
Oh, you did that because it was cheaper on the printing process.
Yeah, I know. Capitalism.
Don't ask how I know these random little fucking facts, but I don't know how to pay taxes in my own country.
It's called watching TED Talks.
What the fuck is a TED Talk?
Exactly. Anyways.
Who the hell is Ted?
Anyway, she looks at you and she kind of like, as she looks at both of you, she says, "What about you? What's your name? Wetware, right?" Was that so? When you mean all relevant information, do you mean like literally everything, or just? You know what? We'll just say all relevant information as like. Okay.
Literally everything I know.
Okay. So, she looks at you and says, "Wetware. So, remind me again which hall do you want to go to learn at the college?"
Shit.
Okay, we'll say you're undecided.
I can't remember.
It's alright.
I think mechanisms or something.
Invention. So, here's another deal. So, both of you have robes. Garter,
Yes.
you are evocation, so you have crimson robes.
Blood red, just like blood.
Well, hold on. Yeah. Well, for invention, it is copper.
Ironic.
Yep. Guess who the teacher is?
Monk do wally do honk.
Mr. Copper. But anyways.
That was gonna be my second use.
Yeah. So she looks at both of you with a wide smile and says, She kind of looks around at the other people and's like, "You meet a lot of unique people here, and I'm glad for that. It makes me feel a little less out of place." But she kind of like stops for a second and looks at you, Wetware, and says, "If you guys want, I can show you around some of the other spots. We do have little clubs around here where students, make and work together. Some of them are just simple study sessions. Other times it's more oriented around this different things."
Can I make a roll for telepathy?
Yes, you can.
Do I need a modifier for that?
Let me double check that actually. So you cast Detect Thoughts using telepathy, which means that here. You can see, so here's how it works. You can see what they're thinking of right now on the surface
Also,
level.
which dice do I roll?
Okay, the way that works is you can see what they're thinking of in that moment, but if you want to probe deeper, you have to roll a...
They make a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah, they make a wisdom saving throw. So what's your magic, or your spell save DC?
Mine?
Yep. I gotta get better at saying names!
Which stat do I check?
It should be at the top of the whole magic section. So when you go to see your magic spells, right? It says that it's,
Found it.
It's 13? Okay. So, before you roll, you see that she's simply thinking about the different types of clubs at the school where there's a writing club, there seems to be more of a art type of club, there's sculpting, then there's some greenery and stuff like that, but you see, as you probe deeper, you see that she didn't come from the best of lives. She, being a drow, grew up in the Underdark. And although the old empire has fallen for centuries, elves who outlive empires don't really grow out of their, ways. And one of the many drow things is perfection. You have to have the perfect mind, perfect body, perfect ability to do whatever you want. And she was always scrutinized for her flaws, especially in her mind, and not for her mind, but for her body, as usually they are immediately killed off if they have imperfections. But since you couldn't do that no longer, she was instead just left behind. She was immediately made an orphan because she has a long birthmark on the back that looks like, it almost looks like the sun. She instead, from the ages of what would be 6 for a human, all the way until recently, as in the last few years, she lived with dwarves. Grew up in a dwarvish household, lived with dwarves deep in there, and learned everything hands-on. Learned how to fight, learned how to drink, learned everything from them. And she will appreciate them eternally as as those are her family. She went to college, and even though her parents were mountain dwarves and who despised magic with all their hearts, they made it an exception for her. And now she wants to make them proud and is working with all of her might to make her sure that she is looked fondly upon in the passage of her friends and in history. That's what you can gather from the detect thoughts.
Oh boy,
I
I'm
smile.
detected all the time.
No, thank you. I've seen the clubs, thank you.
Oh, okay then, okay. Well, she kind of you could see that she's kind of rubbing her hands together, almost a little nervously, and says, well, if you ever just want a friend to talk to or anything, you just give me a holler. She writes down something on a little piece of scroll she grabs from her pocket and hands it to both of you. It seems to be a room number and glowing, and her name glowing, very Mary, as you see. As she says, all you have to do is tap that and you can talk to me from anywhere. Although if you go through the Hall of Realms, there's a small chance that it will fail. Which one of you would like to keep the letter?
Right, so there's low reception areas.
If you literally travel to another dimension, yes.
Sounds about right.
I
I
look
guess-
at it and memorize it.
Okay, you memorize her room number, which is room 404.
Haha, computer.
Yep.
Yes, 404.
And around this time,
I immediately crash.
oh god.
My eyes go white.
Oh no!
I guess Garter will grab the card then.
And I make a massive droning noise.
Hold on, I need to make one roll.
H. You
watch?
That's giving me sensory overload.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You watch as Very, with a simple hit,
Sorry.
hits Wetware in the middle of the head, and you watch as it stops, as it says, I think, did that work?
Total system reboot.
Well, we
Windows
better.
chime. Hello, I am Wetware.
I think you need a break.
Well, you need courage.
That too, as she points to you and still takes another muffin off her plate and eats that as well. As now, we're gonna go to Keone.
Does that imply Garter needs
You
the
were about to
ruby
say Kyon,
slippers?
weren't you?
I corrected myself at the last moment. Okay.
I heard. Hello?
Yep, we're here.
You went silent. Why'd you all stop talking?
It's mostly because I don't want to interrupt people. So I always
Garter has not much to say.
yes. Yes, indeed.
All according to plan.
So you wake up in this dusty room as you hear talking in the hall.
I'm gonna listen in.
You go to the door and you hear Hector's voice along with a little Kenku as he says, "So why do you think I should be the one to go with you along this journey, Headmaster?" You hear the Kenku squawk and says, "You are the most powerful, aren't you?"
Rude.
He looks. You hear a sneer in his voice as he says, "Although I am, it doesn't constitute the..." Interrupted by the headmaster. "The danger is palpable, and we need to make sure. The Fae and Shadowfell reflect each other. If Satyrs on the..." What?
No, that was me out of character reacting to that bitch.
Oh, okay. As it says, "We must make sure that the Shadowfell portal is stable." You hear hesitation in Hector's voice as he says, "Do you already have extra help?" You hear footsteps immediately from the right, as you know that's from a little bit up, another floor up. As you see, as one of them is giant. You reckon even bigger than Garner, and the other one is.
I can't see anything. I'm just listening.
You can you can hear the footsteps, and the other footsteps are silent, but you could just hear the faintest creaking of wood underneath them. As you hear in Hector's voice as he says, "A half-orc and a tiefling?" The Kenku immediately retorts, "Full orc. They will help. Prepare body Prepare by the end of the week. Go.
Do I remember which school the Kenku is from?
Illusion.
Keone is just as he's starting to say go, she's gonna walk out pretending she just woke up and didn't hear anything.
As Hector Lee looks and says, "Oh, good morning, Keone." He looks towards the.
Everything all right?
Oh yes, of course. As he immediately walks past the headmaster and says, "I'll tell you over breakfast. Let's go to the dining hall."
Okay. And she's just gonna rub her eyes like she's fully playing into that. I just woke up. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Make a deception check.
Can I do performance?
You know what? I'll allow it.
It's the same roll, but you know.
I know.
It's the principle.
Oh shit.
Oh. Great start.
11. You're gonna have to beat a. Oh. You think that even though it wasn't your best performance, the Kenku and the other two, you don't really see them as they're wearing jet black robes, except for the tall one, who above his robe, from his head, coming out are giant, jagged horns. And you see that the other one has a faint green tint on their face.
The orc fucked a tiefling.
Make an investigation.
Well, who
Why?
wouldn't?
Why? I'm not touching anything.
You're not touching anything, of course, but I just want to see.
What?
I just want to see.
Okay. 7.
You think it's a tiefling.
Okay.
As you both walk down the steps, as Hector says, "I guess I know what my next project is."
What's that?
You know how the Feywild is closed due to the satyrs?
She just gives him a look like she already tried to go home.
Yeah, since the Feywild is connected to the Shadowfell, they think that there could be a similar instance. They said the headmaster said I should prepare by the end of the week, but I know that considering
For what?
to go in
You're going to the Feywild?
to the Shadowfell. If there's a major
Can me and my companions come?
He looks at you and says, "I'm sure more help wouldn't be refused, of course. And you're a student of the Prestige."
And if we go there, we can see if the same situation with your parents are happening with mine.
He takes a deep breath and says, "Of course. Maybe we can find a color
I feel
splash."
like being a bridesmaid. A what?
You see, I won't be able to go in due to my preparations. But I can handle yours as well, and you can go to the astral plane. Color splashes are when in the astral plane, portals open up that lead to other realms. That's how we got these portals here. As he looks at you and says, "You can, but the astral plane is one of the most dangerous regions."
Oh, I know. Remember that time when I was proving when I was proving my skill for the college? That's where I went when I vanished.
He takes a deep breath and he says, "How did you survive?"
Lucky rabbit's feet.
You have 2 of them. As
She does lift her skirt a little and just wiggles like normal human feet. Not really, but
it's more of the symbolism.
I feel.
As you finally walk out of the Hall of Realms and towards the dining hall, where you see there are many tables, but one floats down to both of you. As you see wetware, garter, and a drow woman.
Did you make a new friend, Carter?
You watch as the drow woman looks behind and immediately almost coughs up what she's eating as she immediately gets up and does a curtsy as he says, "Oh, I didn't expect to see 2 pieces of royalty today."
You say that like we're a collection.
Gotta catch them all. Royalty.
Fucking damn it.
She takes a deep breath and says, "My mistake for assuming." She takes a seat, and you see that there's 2 other seats right beside of her. As you see that she's kind of like, she's very nervous.
She's what?
Very nervous.
Keanu's just gonna give her a little pat on the shoulder.
It's all. You see goosebumps kind of like flare up as she kind of says, "Okay." As you both sit down, you see that. What's your favorite food?
Fey wine and fairy fruit.
You see the fey wine and fairy fruit appear on your plate. And then you see Hector's plate has a very simple looking type of meat. It almost looks like salmon, actually. With little bits of rice on the side. And some water, but you can see that it's almost sparkling. As he says, "Oh, I've never seen that kinds of fruit before."
Mine?
Yeah,
Wait, who said that? Hector or the drow?
Hector.
Would you like to try some? I wouldn't recommend eating a lot though, but as long as you're with me, it's safe to eat because I'm not gonna force you to dance until you drop.
He kind of blinks for a second and says, "I'll trust you, but I'll let you have some of my dragon turtle meat."
I love some.
We can dance if you want to.
Gata, I will force to dance until he drops. If he makes one more fucking joke.
You watch as he takes his knife and fork and kind of like you know how he takes like a little slice of one of the fairy fruit and puts it on his plate, and then he takes the fork off and takes from his plate to yours a slither of dragon turtle meat.
She's gonna try it.
It tastes. It is the softest meat you have ever tasted. It is extraordinarily so. With, like, as it kind of like bleeds a bit, and you notice that the blood is blue. As it tastes a lot like, it's not tough, but it is a bit chewy. And it has a very, very, like, interesting texture.
Raw.
Yes.
That's all you had to say.
Yeah, but I want to signify the blue blood. Duh.
Cause you know we've got blue.
Ah!
Hey, Gata, would you like to try some Fey wine?
Garter would love to try some Fey wine.
Here, have the whole cup.
Okay, I'm gonna
Garter
look.
will have a whole cup.
I'm gonna look this up. I'm looking up.
Buddy.
Oh, wait, hold on, wait.
You don't know what Feywine is?
Wait, hold on.
Garter's not smart enough to know the consequences of his actions.
Oh no, I'm in the DM. Ow.
I tried to look up Fey wine for 5e, but there isn't. I know it's a real thing. I just don't know what that real thing entails. So I don't know.
Would you like to know?
Yes.
Okay. So... I don't know how to explain it now. Let me... Look at this.
Also, you...
So... Basically, it's like a drug. You drink
Wait,
it,
I thought we
and
were
your
trying to get the
inhibitions
drug
are
dealers.
gone with like a couple of sips, but it only really affects non-Fey in that way. But essentially, all your inhibitions are gone. You're more susceptible to things. You just want to dance and dance and dance. If you have too much, you want to take your clothes off. But one glass is not enough for that.
You see Garter, who is a barbarian who's almost always naked.
Well, I should roll a Constitution saving throw, right?
Yeah, you should. Also, I forgot. So, like I said, Wetware and Garter have their robes. Garter has Crimson. Wetware has Invention, which is Copper. So just make sure that's in your equipment.
Huh. Garter's not a lucky man. I have a +6 to my saving throw, but I really did just get a 3.
Your inhibition is gone.
You want to dance.
Which dance do you do, though?
The Macarena.
You watch as Garter stands up on his chair and does the Macarena. Oh God. Oh dear God. Oh fuck.
Essentially, imagine if having one sip of wine is like having 17 glasses.
You watch as Very Mary, the drow, she kind of like... You watch as she starts giggling, and then the giggling turns to snorting as she's watching the giant Goliath do a silly little dance.
Keone is just going to secretly use Mage Hand to make sure she doesn't fall while laughing.
You have...
But it's also not just a case of, like, it forces them to dance. It's just they get so... It's essentially they just get so
This is why
drunk.
I am happy to be an insect. I am just
Well,
a fly on the wall.
The reason is because if you dance and your friends don't dance, then they ain't no friends of mine.
Get out.
So anyways, what you... As Garter does his little dance, Garter, you notice something. Something you haven't noticed in a long while. You see a shadow hand symbol. You see that...
Shadow... Sorry, I think you cut out there for a second.
A shadow hand symbol.
Oh.
You see this as it's almost hidden. Hold on, let me... Copy and paste, you damned image. Damn you, image. You always make me look bad. You know what? I'll just upload it. I'll search through my files.
Wait, what do you mean you couldn't find Feywine for D&D? It's in the Forgotten Realms wiki.
Oh. I don't know how then. Me stupid then. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? No, it's not here. Okay. You see...
Essentially...
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it says in the wiki, the abilities, Feywine was known to induce frivolous behavior when consumed. This effect was far stronger on non-elven races, or I guess non-Fey, and consuming large quantities could cause a human to lose sense of themselves for months.
Ah, okay. So, what you see is the symbol of the safe house, which is an eye, as with a diamond inside of it. As you see, this symbol is not on a particular place, but rather on a person's hand. As you see, it's almost like tattooed on there. You see it from one of the lower tables as someone is exiting the building.
Carter's gonna start dancing his way over to that exit then.
You're on a flying table. You'll have to make an
I
acrobatics
fall because I'm very drunk.
Make an acrobatics check with disadvantage because you're drunk. And what do you say, Keanu?
I was saying he's very drunk.
He is very drunk. Roll on combat.
Yeah.
You watch
Yeah,
as
boy.
he does the Macarena while he falls, and lands, and you see that, and you're following now the student as he's you know that he's wearing some sort of, well, let me double check the robes. God almighty.
Keanu's just gonna look at Hector confused as to why Garter was still dancing while you fell.
You watch as Hector shrugs and says, "He's a man of his craft." As you're,
Hector would know.
He's smart enough to have a craft.
I mean, he's smart enough to.
I'm
try
smart
this.
enough to have a Minecraft.
Get out.
Garter, you follow this person as you notice that he has light purple robes on. As you follow him until he takes a sharp right into one of the many little alleyways and whatnot on this campus. As
Do I see which one he goes into?
Yep. As you follow him, you go into this cramped little alleyway where your shoulders brush the buildings. As he turns to you and says, "Why do you follow me?" As you see that it's a very tanned human with sun-bleached skin, almost completely white eyes, and long blonde hair that goes all the way down, almost touching the ground.
You've got a nice tattoo there. On your hand? Mind telling me what it means?
As you say that, his demeanor immediately shakes off as he says, "Only ones of the Shadow Hands can see this." So, what's your mission here? Or is it just for pleasure?
The reason I'm here is not... On their hand, just have to put something down.
Okay. Okay, say that again.
You don't need to know the reason why I'm here. But why do you have that mark on your hand?
This is the mark of the safe house. It means that those who seek, well, safety on this campus can come to me for help. So,
So why can I see that again? I don't remember having...
you're hired by the Shadow Hands.
I'm hired by the Shadow Hands?
Yep. It's been a long while since that has been in play, remember?
Was it when we were sent to protect somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
As he looks at you and says, "Though I've heard about you, kept despite your, well, the disappearance of your assignment. Though it doesn't really matter now. You're kept for your strength.
Why don't you say that to my face?
I am.
Well, you're right.
Listen, we're not enemies. Do you need any information now?
Yes, I did want to ask about if you knew anything about the drug trade.
What is there that you don't already know? I might tell you
Well, I
something.
don't know exactly what it is quite.
Well, my lips are a bit tight right now. Some coin ought to loosen them up as he puts out a hand.
Garter would try and use intimidation, though even he knows he's too drunk right now.
Yep.
Garter will put down 2 gold coins.
You actually, as you put him down, he kind of rubs them together for a second and puts them in his coin pouch and says, "Mostly, they're selling crystalline gems only found in the Shadowfell. These
The
gems,
Shadowfell.
these gems causes someone to temporarily have the intellect of what seems to be the ultimate genius. Though this can and will backfire to those who don't have the right constitution, as they are basically turned into ticking time bombs. But what they don't know is these time bombs can be manipulated into different types. For example, I heard that if you have a powerful enough concoction with enough of the crystalline dust put into a concentration of a potion, you could turn it into a negative energy flood. Can you imagine the scale? You release someone into a city, and in an instant, you have half the populace turned into the undead. Now imagine who would want such a weapon.
Oh, God, I can imagine.
I've heard that you're hunting down this chosen fella, too. Do you think this is tied?
I have no doubt that this is tied.
Well, I'd recommend watching for those who enter in and out of the Shadowfell regularly. Though,
Who enter in and out of the Shadowfell regularly.
you have to be very careful.
Garter does a big think.
If you need the safe house, remember this. Go to the clock tower and go to the highest floor. Doesn't matter how. Get there. Once you do, you'll see the bell. I want you to try your best to ring it once. If you do, I'll help you out. Understood?
Well then, sounds good to me.
Did you write that down?
And I'll make sure to bring the bell tower. That's where I have to go, right?
Top of the bell tower to ring it to get to the safe house. Good. As he say that, he simply says, "Now, if you excuse me, I have to go take some transmutation lessons." As he simply continues down the alleyway. Back at the table, you see that the drow lady's kind of like trying her best to peek at both you and Hector, as she's currently taking small bites of her muffin, as Wetware is also sitting on the other side, kind of just like in it. What are you doing, Wetware? How do you feel about this whole entire situation? Type it in a giant paragraph. I need a 5-page essay on my desk next week of Spider-Man. Now! Okay. Well, you see
I
that?
am simply observing, collecting data.
Alright. You watch as she kind of... Ooh.
As I am wont to do.
Okay, as you want to do. Oh.
I have already developed a somewhat dislike for Vulcan.
Oh. Spooky.
What? Why?
I think it's in character stuff. Ooh, this is getting spells.
Bug reasons.
Ooh. Bugs.
My tail swishes. With buggy logic.
Oh, I get it.
Are bugs like fleas to you?
Bugs as in, like, computer bugs.
Yeah.
Oh. You watch as the drow takes a big gulp, and it says with a almost shaky voice, it's nice to meet both of you.
It's nice to meet you too.
She kind of looks and says, it's always I almost never see students of the prestige here except for Hector. He always tries to eat and intermingle with the students.
Why don't the others?
She takes a deep breath and says, the hierarchy gets to their heads. As Hector just simply nods and says, yeah, their egos are giant.
Keone just starts laughing uncontrollably to the point she almost falls back off her chair.
As you're about to fall, you feel a mage hand try to keep you away from falling off the chair.
I weigh a lot more than 5 pounds.
It's more of a gesture than an effort. As she kind of looks at you with a little bit of confusion and says, did I say something wrong?
No, you didn't. I find it funny how do I say this nicely? I find it funny that those who are not top of the hierarchy are always the ones who care about it the most. That little taste of power they get to their head more than Feywine does.
You watch as Hector takes a long sip of his sparkling water and puts it down and says, I am not going to say anything because they might kill me if they hear that. He says in a joking tone.
I'll say it to their face. Let them deal with what my father will do.
Oh. That releases a nervous laughter as she simply says, well, yeah, I kind of don't like hierarchies. They kind of ruin a lot of stuff. As you kind of like, it's starting to get a little bit more comfortable around you too.
I think the hierarchy can be a good thing. If you have people who have sway and control, they can help the people at the bottom. It's the people that just want the power without helping anyone. That's where the problem comes in. She just looks around the table at the sons. Did I say something wrong?
It seems like they're just kind of processing that. As Very says, I'm a drow, so the only time I've ever met hierarchies was when I was left behind for my birthmark.
And that shouldn't have happened to you. I know it doesn't amount to the amounts you've suffered, but I know that before I was able to get a letter of recommendation into the college, they wouldn't let me into this area of the city because of where I'm from. And I'm aware of that horrid little man who wants to ban all who aren't human from the city.
You don't understand the hoops I had to go through just to get through this college.
You shouldn't have to.
My parents were like, and she goes, well, I told you ain't gonna do that magic shit no more. I told you. Look at him.
I was always told I wasn't allowed to explore. Now look where I am. A different world entirely.
My parents would be kicking themselves in the shins if they knew I'd be talking to royalty. As she kind of looks down and says, they're mountain dwarves. They're very proud people, but even they would congratulate me on this.
I don't think meeting this someone just because of what their parents were should be as big of an achievement as it is.
She does another nod and says, so, as Hall of Realms, you guys already know a lot of magics, right? Maybe you can help me out with some of my studies?
I'd love to.
Thank you. You watch as the table starts to lower as she says, I think I've eaten enough. I've eaten 5 muffins today.
Yeah? Are they any good? I want to try one.
Sure. As you watch as another one pops up, as you see it's a red velvet muffin.
Ooh. Do they make it with real crushed velvet? Is it fabric?
She looks at you and says, it's my mom's recipe. I had to tell it to Mr. Copper himself.
She's gonna try it.
It tastes very, very, it tastes very sweet. Like one of the sweetest things you've tasted in a long while. It almost makes your face scrunches up a bit.
She'll just play it off as like a rabbit nose wiggle.
As you do, she kind of gives you a wide smile and says, they remind me of home, although they're not very good for my diet. As you watch as she takes a sip of her drink, and the smell of one of the hardest dwarven stouts you've ever smelled hits your nose.
She just does a very wide blink, like it's gotten into her eyes and she's trying to get that out. You know, I understand that feeling. I enjoy having food from the Feywild whenever I can when I miss home.
Mm-hmm. You watch as she lets it off of her lips as you hear it fill up again as she takes another deep drink of it. As you notice the table go down and Garter reappear.
Well, it was lovely to meet you, and whenever you want help with your studies, do you have a pen?
She stops drinking, and you watch as she takes out a little scroll and hands you a quill. As you know, she has like a little. It looks like almost like a mustache of foam on her face. As she immediately, after you look at her for a second, immediately tries to like wipe it off with a little napkin.
Keone's gonna write down her room number.
As you do, she kind of looks at it and says, well, thank you. I'll come by there soon. As Hector kind of looks and says, and if you ever want to come to the Hall of Realms, I can show you around there.
Mm-hmm.
She does another little curtsy and says, thank you, lady and sir. I'm sorry for being so informal.
Oh, don't worry about it. I've been traveling with this giant oaf who's still apparently drunk. Almost fine.
As you both leave, as you see that she kind of sits down again and takes another drink of another pint. As you both leave, you hear the world's your oyster. Where do you guys want to go now?
Don't we have class at all?
The way that these classes work is that you go to every day there's halls. Garter wants to do evocation, so he has to go to evocation to learn those. But you could go theoretically to anywhere.
Gata, just take some salt to deal with that Feywine drunkenness. I suppose I'll see you at lunch.
I think Garter's...
Maybe Garter will be sober by lunch.
Well, yes, but classes. Also, it's Feywine. Like,
yeah, you don't want to deal with that.
It's magical drunk.
Yeah.
Garter doesn't understand magic. It can't hurt him.
Garter already has.
So, Garter, you go to the evocation hall. Where does Keon go? Or Keone?
She is gonna ask Hector where the prestige students normally go to study.
As he looks at you, he whispers, "The smart ones go to the hall that they're either most strong with, or least strong with to even out. Personally, I like to go to." He takes a second and says, "I like to go to divination."
And what about our tutor, headmaster? I forgot what his title was.
Headmaster, he takes a second and says, he takes new initiates in who are not prestige yet, but are vying for the title, and tests them. If they're ready, he'll lead them through the initiation of the prestige. You're lucky; you only got to do the final stage.
There were more?
He takes a deep breath and says, "Unfortunately."
What do you mean, unfortunately?
He looks at you and says, "I've watched many students do the first trial, the hardest trial. You see the clock tower?
Yes.
You have to go to the very top of it and ring the bell 3 times without Mr. Copper finding you. You cannot battle him. You have to sneak past him."
Really?
Yep. And the best part about these...
You have to go... Sorry.
What do you say, Garter?
But you have to go to the clock tower and ring the bell.
Yeah.
I thought Garter was gone.
No, this is...
Garter is gone.
Yeah, this
but,
is a joke.
I'm just saying out of character.
So, he looks and says, "That trial I've seen so many students fail at. But I tried it myself one night. As even though you can go to the headmaster and alert him that you're going to do the trial, you can do it yourself, and after you ring it 3 times, you're in for the prestige."
I wonder why I didn't have to do all the trials.
You're like me. You're royalty. We were only taught...
That doesn't seem very fair.
He takes a second and says, "That's hierarchy."
I don't like it.
And wetware, which hall do you want to go to? Invention? Wetware? Oh yeah, you're typing, sorry. Finally, freedom. Ooh. Let us commence with the trial.
Let us come.
I scuttle off on my own. I might go to invention. I might not. It depends on if anything stokes my curiosity.
Let me roll a D100 if something stokes your curiosity while Keon still talks.
You robots are such curious beings.
Oh shit. Anyways, Keone, Hector looks at you and says, I'm probably gonna just attend one of the smaller meetings of the divination. I'd
I
recommend...
think I'll come with you. I've never really tried divination before, and I'm curious.
It is interesting. And while you do that, I'm going to...
Who knows, maybe someone will see my future.
That was my first time, as he says with a twinge in his voice, as if it's, well, not regret, but almost like fear?
Are you okay?
I'll tell you later. As
There's a lot you're going to tell me later.
there's a lot that needs to be said later.
Okay.
As Wetware, you see an old man. He looks to you and says, "If you answer my riddle, I will give you 50 gold pieces. But if you lose, I get 5. What you say?" Wetware? Oh, AFK? Ah, that's alright. Anyways, we'll do that later then. So, let's do Garter first. Garter, you go to the Hall of Evocation. You pass by the Crimson Marble and go into the major auditorium. The auditorium, where you see many crimson-robed students are listening in. As you see him.
Him?
Yes,
Who him?
The headmaster. Mark Liam, the human with pale skin and small and shaven brunette hair. As he's simply going in and saying, "For evocation, we manipulate the elements to our will. We mainly use this against our enemies. We can destroy anything with fire, flame, and lightning. And we can also heal. We are nothing short of the quintessential mind. What everyone thinks of when the word wizard is uttered. Nothing will ever stop you, and nothing will ever take away from that. We are known for creating light, as he casts light. We are known for frost. We are known for fire. We are known for the chaos, and we are known for healing. We are known to even have some of the divine favor of the gods on our side. We can use spells and tricks that most don't even remember. As evocations, we must learn to not only control the elements, but controls what is caused by the elements. Light and dark. These two are created by flame. The flame of the sky. Without the flame, there's nothing. We can control the wind. We can control the waters. We can control even beams of the moon. All you have to do is grasp it. Take it. Does anyone wish to feel power?
Wait, DM, quick
Yeah.
question.
Yeah?
You said small, pale, shaved, right?
Yep.
That's no coincidence, is it?
He looks human though. He's tall enough to be human, but he's on the shorter side of human.
Well, also, there are very simple illusion spells which can make you look, I don't know, a foot taller or a foot shorter.
Yep.
Wait, if Garter didn't take Soul, did he go to class drunk?
Yes.
Yep. As he says, we can even send messages over long swaths of land. Though they are limited by only 25 words, we can still make use of them. And we can even summon forth my favorite spell, the Dark Star. Destruction made personified. We control the stars in this class. make meteors fall. Barriers of blades, stones of wall. We can even control the wrath of nature. Who wishes to learn this, to master this? Come up now, and I shall bestow upon you a gift if you prove yourself.
Garter will hesitantly walk up.
As you walk up, he looks at you with a sneer and says, "A Goliath. Let's hope your boisterous voice is just the same. Now, tell me, what would you like to learn?"
I want to learn how to impress my son.
Ah, a braggart.
No, I want to relate to my son. You don't think well of Goliaths, do you?
I don't think well of anyone until they prove themselves. Are you ready to do just that?
Yes.
You watch as he snaps his fingers, and you watch as the area you're in suddenly expands to a small 40-foot, almost like dome. As he says, all you have to do is survive. One spell. You ever heard of gravity?
Rest in peace, Garter.
Garter has heard of it in a book once.
Us evocation wizards can control this. I will show you what that means. As he throws his hand forward, and you see above you.
Garter is going to try and dodge.
You cannot dodge, as a black void, a dark star appears.
Wait, there's no saving throw? No
Yes,
dodge?
there is.
You said I had to survive.
It's a
You
Constitution
didn't
saving
say
throw.
by what means.
You have to make a Constitution saving throw as he yells, "One chance!" 6 seconds is all it takes to be ripped apart. Now roll. Wait, did you already roll?
No, I'm rolling now.
You take 33 damage.
Is this force damage?
Yep.
Oh. Alright.
Are you still alive?
Yes.
As this happens, you watch as you fall, as with that sudden urge that almost tears you apart, the star stops. As the dome suddenly comes back, as you're now back in front of the stage, all of the students are whispering to each other as you are bruised but still alive, as he says, Usually students like that are disintegrated by the Dark Star. You weren't.
Is that legal?
If you're in my classroom, it is. Now, get up.
Garter up.
You get to learn one spell. I will let you choose.
An evocation spell?
He gives you a small paper. As you see, only 3 spells are written. Holy Weapon, Hollow, and Dawn.
What was that last one?
Dawn. You get to choose
Dawn?
one. Would you like me to put these in the chat?
Yes.
These each are level 5. And these each are very powerful. Holy
You just
weapon.
have to do their names.
I am. There's
Alright.
there's holy weapon. Here's Dawn.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
And then here's Hollow. Hollow is probably the most complicated spell in the entire game, and I love it. As he simply looks at-
Is Wet coming back?
She will. It'll just be a second. Is she here? That's how you spell. Which spell do you choose, Garter?
Sorry, I was just looking at the effects for Hallow.
Yep, it's a lot of them, aren't they? That one is probably the most expensive one.
Ooh, if I choose the effect Extra Dimensional Interference, that means that they can't use, like, most magic to run away.
Yep, but it costs $1,000 and it takes a day to
1,000
cast.
gold to use.
Yep.
Oh, that's what you meant by expensive.
Yep. Dawn costs 100. Well, you have to have a something of 100. Doesn't necessarily mean it consumes it. Then Holy Weapon is the least expensive.
So, this is a ritual, right?
Which one, Hollow?
Each one of these would be a ritual to use it, right?
Nope. You get to cast
Nope.
them once a day, and that's it.
Dawn seems pretty good.
Have you read Holy
I guess
Weapon?
Hollow is interesting, but it's difficult considering how expensive it is.
Yeah. And then have you read Holy Weapon?
I have. Yeah, Holy Weapon's pretty strong, too.
Especially since it blinds enemies.
Holy Weapon might actually be the best choice here.
It's up to you.
I think I'll choose Holy Weapon, because that means I can buff my axe.
There you go. As he simply says, good choice. Now, back to the lesson. You may take your seat in the front row. As you see, the front row is almost entirely empty, except for a few students. I only allow students I deem worthy to sit here, and you are one of those now. Now, we're going to switch to Keone and Hector. Or Keone. You
Um,
hey, you both make it to the divination room hall. As now, you see the light blue marble or cyan blue marble of the hall as you go to the major auditorium. As you see the professor, Master Nos Blue, as the small halfling with short blonde hair is currently almost laughing, almost cackling as she says, "Guidance is often looked down upon as one of the most simple and easy to understand schools of magic. People don't understand how useful our techniques are. Some people may just see us as simple helpers and detectors of the unweary. I see us as, well, the gateway to the mind. We can see from far, we can hear from far, commune with nature, other beings, and, well, everything. We can see into the future and know our fate. Although it takes a while, we may not ever lose sight of what we need. And no one will ever lie to us. With our powers, we can always and forever do this. Now, I wish for someone to answer this question. What spell that you must sacrifice? This is a religious spell, and you need incense for it as well. And this is a unique spell, as it allows you to contact a god or one of their servants. Who wishes to speak the name of the spell? Hector.
Kenny's gonna raise her hand.
Hector looks at you and says, "Oh, you know the spell?" As the halfling immediately points to you and says, "The name of the spell, please."
Is it commune?
Ooh. You know what? That was an extraordinarily good guess, Miss. As she kind of squints.
Do you mean divine intervention?
Almost. It's a little bit of a, well, everyone will kick themselves when they finally hear the name.
Speak with God?
She looks at you and with a wide smile says, "Divination." As she starts to chuckle and say, "Although all of your answers are correct, each one of those spells can contact your gods. And most people often overlook that aspect of divination, as we can get the answers to what we want. We can ask a god the meaning of their text, ask a god if this person is really a speaker, a messiah for them. Ask anything."
Kearney is just gonna lean over to Hector and whisper, "I just know that my father is so sick of that spell."
I'd imagine so.
He
Sorry.
gets this weird look on his face that makes his nose crinkle.
He kind of does a little chuckle and says, "I can only imagine that." As you hear her voice boom again and says, "For your tries, though, I will allow this," as you see a paper being flown towards you. And lands right in front of you on the little desk thing that they have. It's yours.
She'll pick it up.
You pick it up, and it's a spell scroll for divination.
She'll blink at it a few times. And then nod once.
Keep it safe. It's still expensive. As she takes a sip of a flagon as big as her hand. As she sips it, and you see little drops of red go down onto the floor as she continues on with the lesson. And then, okay, so Wetware's still gone, so I assume that she has something important to attend to, so we'll continue on as both you and Garter finish, both of your lessons finish at around the same time as you hear ding, 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 as both of the teachers excuse the students for lunch.
Keone is gonna wait till everyone's gone and head towards the teacher.
You do so?
Hi, I suppose this is a little weird, you probably get asked this a lot, but I don't suppose you could have a divination of me?
Huh.
I suppose.
That should be easy. You watch as she kind of like takes a second, clears her throat, and then she starts to cast a spell. As she begins to cast, you watch as it's interrupted by some unknown force as she stops and says, "Huh, let me try that again."
Oh, that's my fault. And she'll pull off the necklace.
Ah, you royalty always have something like that.
It was more of a gift. I'm a little cursed with my dreams right now.
Ah, that's spooky. What is your intention for this? She looks at you with as simple as she says, I just want to know.
Curiosity.
Huh, okay. As she casts, you watch as she immediately starts, taking a second, almost taken aback, as she finished scrying. Hold on. She needs to roll for this. As you see that, let's see here. Trying to make some. Huh. Okay. I need to roll 2 more times then, huh? As she casts the spell, she holds a piece of your hair.
My hair?
Yep. She does. And after she finishes, she says, "I just needed a piece of you to make sure that the spell goes through without a hitch."
I've heard of weirder components.
Yes, as she's looking, and you see her eyes are changing colors, flickering, as she's saying, "Well, isn't this something?" Huh. I'm looking at multiple people right now.
Multiple people?
Yes, I'm looking at you who are... It's very strange seeing yourself from another eye. And I'm looking at Hector. He seems to be waiting at the entrance of this building.
I thought you were about to say fucking waiting at the altar. I was gonna faint.
Then there's... Huh. There seems to be a crow.
A crow?
Yes, he seems to be on the... just simply flying. Flying above what seems to be a wyvern. There's a lizard folk there. And the lizard folk is holding something.
What's he holding?
She takes a second as she says, "A letter?"
What does the letter say?
I don't know. It's closed? It has a seal on it, though. A seal of a dragon's head? Weird.
And Hector's at the building waiting for me?
Right outside of this building.
What's the building?
The Hall of Illusions, she says with the eyebrow up. Just waiting at the door.
Huh. Thank you. Yes.
What were you hoping to gather from this? As she blinks and you see her eyes again.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't look at divination magic enough.
Well,
I suppose I was just interested.
you watch as she grabs the orb and sets it on the table and says, "If you really want to get into divination, get one of these," as she flicks it.
Do you know where I could get one?
Well, it's not about just an orb. You need an expensive spell focus. 1,000 gold pieces at least. Though a silver mirror could work, as she starts scratching the back of her ear.
Anything that I could see through.
Anything that you could pour your arcane magic into.
So, like the arcane focus I already use? The crystal?
May I see it?
She just points to an icicle-like crystal on her necklace.
As she looks at it, she kind of looks a bit confused. As she says, "How did you get a hold of a breath elemental?"
What do you mean?
She grabs it and says, "This thing was..."
Hey!
Do you stop her?
Like, is she trying to pull it off?
Yeah.
She'll look a little panicked,
As
for sure.
she says, "A spirit elemental is created when a dragon has such mastery over his breath that he can just spawn elementals from it. This seems to be spawned from an ancient ice dragon. This is way more than 1,000. You're good."
That's from my home. I'd like it back, please. My magic isn't exactly stable.
She carefully hands it back to you and says, "Well, keep it close. Someone might steal it from you."
I'd like to see them try. And she's gonna clip it back around her neck.
Well, She kind of stops for a second and says, "Have you been to the necromancy school yet?"
I don't believe so.
If you do, tell the headmaster that, well, Mrs. Blue needs some more wine. As she flicks the little flagon she has.
I'll go do that now so I don't forget. Thank you.
You watch as she leans back in her chair and she seems to be consumed in what you assume to be happy thoughts because she's smiling wide.
Keone just looks confused but makes her exit. Was Hector waiting at all?
Yep. You see him just waiting outside on the right beside of these columns that look like heavenly light shining from above. As he turns to you and says, "Oh, how did the conversation go?"
I don't know.
"Well, if it's with Miss Blue, it's good."
Apparently you and I are going to the illusion school at some point, and there's a crow and a letter.
So, let me explain this, Keone. So that was showing...
Keone.
Keone. That was showing him in real time. So he was outside of the Hall of Illusions.
We went in.
God damn it. I mean the Hall of Divination, sorry. Gosh, Amadi. That's why you were so confused. I messed up the fucking name. Sorry.
Now I'm more confused.
Okay, so in that scrying spell, it was supposed to show him waiting outside of the hall for you. But I name dropped the wrong hall.
She's gonna look around for a lizard folk.
You don't see one.
She's gonna look more confused and then look at him. Would you go ahead and get lunch? I need to go deliver a message.
Okay.
I won't be long. I'm just going to necromancy.
No, okay then. Okay, I'll see you later then.
She nods.
As you both separate, you go to the necromancy hall, where you see it's made of black marble. Where you see the columns are masses of undead, skeletons, zombies, rites, all built up like a column.
She's gonna head inside.
You head inside as you see there's still some students reading some books, some students still looking for books to read during their lunch break, and some of the teachers eating their lunches in the halls, where you see him, Frank Sinclair, the tiefling, as his coal black skin and purple eyes in this very dark room with no windows, as he's simply just eating what seems to be a sandwich by some candlelight, as he looks up and just waves.
I'm here with a message. Ms. Blue needs more wine.
He kind of quickly swallows after hearing that and says, I'll give another barrel tonight. As he watches, he kind of straightens up a bit and says, she wants to make up for so much lost time. As he starts scratching his beard.
What do you mean?
He kind of looks at you and he says, you wouldn't know it by looking at us, but we're siblings.
I've seen weirder combinations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is. I don't know how she got this job, but I'm glad I'm back here.
She seems very wise. She knew more about my focus than I did.
Well, she is divination. She's supposed to know. She can just identify it.
Yes, but she seemed to know just from one look.
He takes a second and says, He kind of looks down at his desk and says, most of us headmasters are powerful enough to, I guess, cast spells without knowing it, I guess.
Insight?
Roll.
I want to insight that so much. Plus... Hey, 17.
It seems to be less. It seems to be a half-truth. As he's not referring to the teachers as a whole, but her. Nas Blue. As he seems to be as if suggesting that she doesn't have complete control over magic.
That's a mood.
As he simply just looks up and says, I'll deliver tonight and we'll have the long conversation we always have, making fun of each other for not having A relationship, jabbing each other for our teaching methods and whatnot.
Kiani's just gonna have that smile on her face, like, I don't know why you're telling me this.
I'm sorry. He kind of looks at your robe and for a second and says, I got a question.
I may have an answer.
So, have you been through any of the portals yet?
No, but I'd really like to.
Well, if you ever go to the Shadowfell, you might...
I'm planning to go there.
Oh, okay. When you go to the before you go to the Shadowfell, you'll need to prepare some anti-undead spells.
Anti-undead. I don't intend to stay that long. I plan to go to the Feywild mostly.
He kind of like looks at you for a second and says, "You really should just." He kind of looks at you and says, "It's not about It's not about how many undead you encounter, but if one strikes down a person, you'll have to make sure that they don't turn."
I see.
You can either do that by animating them yourself, or...
Well, I'm not exactly a wizard.
Yeah, not exactly, but you could still learn using a scroll.
I don't think I can learn that kind of magic.
Have you ever tried?
No, I haven't really had a reason to, but I don't think that's possible for someone of my talents.
Well, he kind of takes a second and says, "If you ever want to try, you just have to tell me. I can at least teach you a simple spell. You ever heard of Gentle Repose?"
No, I don't really look towards necromancy too much.
It's a simple...
My specialty is with ice and snow.
Then Evocation is where you want to go.
Yes, I'm aware.
As he simply looks at you and says, "Just remember that if you..." He kind of stops for a second and says, "When you need it, don't forget what I've told you."
Okay.
He nods and simply says, "Have a good day."
You as well. She's gonna quickly head out.
There you go.
She's gonna look around when she leaves, and she's gonna head to the illusion hall.
All right. You go. You go to the illusion hall where you don't see the teacher there.
I'm gonna go up to the desk and I'm gonna start looking through it,
Ooh.
trying to be stealthy.
As you do, you see that it's... Make an investigation check, actually.
Okay. Gimme.
You find something strange. A note in a hidden compartment. You don't know who or where it's from, as it has no emblem, but you see that the handwriting is almost immaculate. As it says, "Safe travels, lamb. Be sure to meet the three-headed one. And once you bring the dragon, ensure that no blood is spilled."
Do I remember what the headmaster was for this specific class?
The Kenku. You remember.
Okay. She's going to... Is there like any other rooms connected to the classroom?
His classroom is the auditorium. So the way that each hall is built is there's a library in the front. You walk through a long hallway that has smaller classrooms, and then you have the major auditorium, which takes up most of the hall.
She's gonna put the note into her bag and she's gonna keep looking around because she's starting to get a bit of a bad feeling.
As you look more around, you see that there's another hidden compartment of an amulet. It doesn't seem to have any magical properties, but it seems to be of orcish nature.
She's gonna put that in her bag.
Okay.
And keep looking! Because she's starting to get worse and worse and worse of a feeling.
The rest you find is simply just, well, notes for classes and whatnot. Different type, and you see there's many types of crystals, where each one, as you touch it, it says it's a different letter in the alphabet, said in a different tone each time you touch it. There's about one for every single letter, and numbers as well, going all the way up from 0 to 9.
She is gonna look confused as to what that is for.
The headmaster's a Kenku.
Oh yeah.
And you seem that's all you find here.
She is going to cause a bit of fey mischief because she's getting a bad feeling and she wants to kind of confirm it. So she takes out some of the crystals and places them on the desk, being careful to like use mage hand to move them so there's no fingerprints.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to spell out the word cursed on the desk before leaving.
Okay, you do so. And then you leave.
I'm going to go head to lunch.
As you walk away, you go to the lunchroom where you see Garter, Hector, and Vary again.
Kenny just has a... She looks very lost in thought and she bumps into the table and almost falls over.
As this happens, Hector immediately gets up and helps you stabilize and says, "Oh, are you okay? You need to pay attention a bit more."
Uh-huh. Oh, right. Right. I'm sorry. My head's in another place right now.
Well, take a seat. We'll see what you can, what you should, eat. Maybe eating will help you out. As they each take a seat. As now, it's lunchtime. What's your favorite lunch meals?
I don't know.
Alright, you'll just have fey wine and fruit again.
Garter
Yeah.
has a big honey roasted ham.
Okay, Gerda gets honey roasted ham.
Very fancy.
Very fancy indeed. Okay, roasted for lunch. You watch as Very gets a rabbit stew, as she kind of looks at you and says, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Can I roll not to faint?
Yes.
What do I roll?
Roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, fuck.
Oh no.
And the table's floating, isn't it?
you yeah, you watch as you watch as she kind of as you begin to fall. As quickly, Garter, you watch as Barry casts Feather Falling on Keon as she slowly floats down. As Hector uses Fly to get down to the ground before her and starts to carry her off to the nurse.
Is she really that afraid of soup?
You watch as Very looks with eyes full of like almost afraid. Someone says, I think I'm just gonna be quiet for a bit, as she starts just nervously eating her soup. As they're taking away, you both finish your meals. And Keone, you wake up as you see that that you're in some sort of like cobblestone room with a man wearing crimson robes looking down upon you on a couch as he says, "Easy there. You fainted."
Did I die?
Unfortunately not.
What do you mean, unfortunately? Wait! She just sits up, looks at him, goes, what do you mean, unfortunately?
As you look at him, you see this man has very gray skin. He seems to be a dwarf, a Duergar. He has
So fucking
a
rude.
white beard, a bald head, and he's wearing crimson robes as he says, "Luckily for you, Feather Falling was cast upon you, so no broken bones. Hector,
Wait, what do you mean, unfortunately, I didn't die?
Hector looks at the Dungar and says, apologize, she does not get your humor yet."
She just looks so freaked out.
As he looks at her and says, "I'm sorry, princess. I'll be more thoughtful of my words later."
I hate that word.
As he looks back again and says, "Please, this is the second time you've brought a girl into my ward. Just make sure that this one stays in one piece."
Keone just slowly looks at Hector like, what's he on about?
Hector is fucking pale.
Insight.
Okay.
Damn it. I'd like to use Tides of Chaos.
Are you sure? Because you're in a nurse ward.
Yeah, exactly. They can patch me up straight away.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Fuck. Not worth it.
Not worth it. As you just look at him, he just looks very, very like sad.
God damn it. She shrinks by 1 inch.
It's not even noticeable. As he looks at you and says, "I guess now's the best time to explain it." As he looks around and says, "It is just one room.
What?
You can
I'm
ask."
confused. What happened?
You fell after seeing Very's meal?
I'm scared to ask what it was.
He kind of like touches the top of his head.
That is just flattened against her head.
Maybe I should have. You watch as he kind of like sits down and says, "I got to talk to her for a bit actually. She She was in front. She came by and said, and was talking to me for a bit. I guess she is a little bit more open. She was telling me about her family, and they breed rabbits. So I can't fault her for her choice of stew. I'm just sorry you had to
Cuties just
have that. He kind of like, he's currently like just hand on mouth, kind of like trying to choose the words, and says, "She is an interesting sort."
And what if this other girl that apparently makes you more pale than my hair?
He looks at you and says, "Well, I was on a trip in the realms. He kind of like brushes his hair to the side and says, there is a way that you can astral project, because we were doing that as a lesson for the headmaster. We went to parts unknown. We wanted to see things that haven't been seen before. And what we saw was a nightmare," as he kind of leans back in his chair and says, "You know what an Astral Dreadnought is?"
Do I?
It was the thing that attacked you, remember?
Oh yes, that's the thing that almost killed me during the trial.
What?
Oh yes, giant space crab.
His eyes go wide and he says, "Well, they have ways, you see. They can destroy, kill anything. And even if you," it kind of takes a second, "are protected by astral projection, you, well, won't." With I got out of time. She did not. When I woke up, she was
Gone?
he licks his lips for a second, almost like trying to hold back like what seems to be vomit, as he says, she was torn in half. So I brought her back, and that's the story of how astral projecting without a headmaster is banned.
Cutie is just gonna step across the room to him and hug him.
As you do, he says, "If you want anything else, any exclamations, you can just ask me."
The illusions professor.
The Kenku?
Are we like alone, or is the Juragrath still here?
He left.
Okay. She's gonna lock the door to the room.
As you do, he simply looks at you and says, "There is a lot. She is the newest professor, only been here a few years. And she is by far the most interesting."
She may be in a cult. I think.
How so?
And she just reaches into a bag, pulls out the amulet and the letter. It may have gone through her desk.
As he looks at the amulet, and he says, "That amulet?" He kind of like cringes a bit as he says, "According to her, it belongs to a past loved one."
I don't think that's true.
And then for the letter, he picks it up and starts to read it as he says,
As he's reading it, Kearney's just gonna put the amulet around her neck so she doesn't have to hold it for now.
You do so, and it feels odd.
What kind of odd?
Make an arcane check.
Okay. Nat 20!
This is an Orcish amulet of marriage. When worn, if you break... This is a amulet where it is made by both parts of the orc.
Both parts?
Yep. What will become the partners? They both have to work together in creating it. They have to use their most powerful destructions of their enemies. As you feel it, originally what looked to be just a regular amulet of a heart, it feels odd because it's obviously has illusions on it to make it seem different. As you feel what seems to be flesh,
I'm gonna be sick.
as you take it off,
She doesn't take it off, she's just feeling it. She just has a look on her like, I'm gonna be sick.
as you feel it, you feel different things. What you know as a canine tooth, you do not know what is it from. A claw of some sort of giant beast. An ear of what seems to be a feline-like creature. A decrepit ape-like finger, and in the very center is what feels to be an orb.
It's an eye, isn't it?
As you look down, the illusion breaks as the heart is broken away, and you see what is an eye with what seems to be completely blinded before death.
I'm gonna be sick.
Luckily, there's a pot for throw up right beside your bed.
She's gonna put her head in it and throw up.
You see that after you're done, you see Hector is kind of looking at you, eyes wide, as he's finished reading it, and says, "Oh no."
What?
He sits down and says, "I think that we have to prepare more for betrayal than the undead. Though we cannot let this spill. If this is true, the headmaster's trying to alienate me."
There's an eyeball on my neck. I'm sorry, but there's an eyeball on my neck.
As he looks, he says, he's kind of like lost for words as he's looking at the amulet, staring directly at it, stunned.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to be serious, but there's an eyeball on my neck.
As he says, "Are you going to keep that on?"
I don't know. I'm scared to take it off.
You watch as he slowly reaches around your neck and kind of like, and then slowly holding it and sets it down and says, "Okay."
That's an all-count amulet of marriage? Oh boy, I feel sick. I'm sorry, it was an eyeball. It was an eyeball.
Let's just take a second, okay? So, this means that our professor clearly is part of the Kure.
And they were trying to get you alone to come on this mission that I overheard you all talking about to the Shadowfell.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, sorry, I was listening.
No offense taken, as now we have a chance to survive. They will try to betray us, kill us some way. Well, he looks back at the letter and says, I don't know why it says he cannot spill my blood.
Can I roll to see if I have an idea or anything on why?
Why, sure. Make a
What do I
history
roll?
check.
A history, okay. I'm not good at history.
I'm gonna have to a bit.
It's alright. We're about to wrap this up as soon. As simply said, you look and you kind of piece it together. If he cannot be harmed, this isn't an assassination. It's a trafficking.
It just became an assassination! I'm gonna kill him.
As Hector simply looks and says, I have a plan.
Are you going to put yourself in trouble?
That often is the best plan.
No.
He puts his hand up and says, the headmaster entrusted both of us to take care of the traitor. We know who the traitor is. If we work with the headmaster, we can set up an ambush.
I'm still trying to piece together why they're trying to take you.
I am a prince. I'm a valuable asset. They can use me to whatever means.
Yes, but the question is, what are their specific means?
He takes a deep breath and says, we'll find out when we capture them. The headmaster has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He takes a second and says, we can all talk to him together, including who you're gonna bring.
Okay.
He gets up and says, allow yourself some time to rest. I'm gonna take these note and this necklace as proof to him.
Be careful. Keep them hidden. I'm probably going to go rest in my room.
I think you should rest here. This is the safer place.
Well, I don't want to take up space in case someone else gets hurt, and I feel more safe in my own room. Besides, you know what number I'm in. You can come in as soon as.
Understood.
I'll leave the door open for you.
He simply nods and says, I'll be there.
She nods and starts to head to her room.
As you go back, you see Garter and Very are at the front of the hall. As Very looks at you and says, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to,
It's okay, really. It was a bit of a culture shock, was all. Don't worry, I'm sure you'd be shocked by some of the things I've eaten. Between you and me, humans are very delicious.
You watch as her face kind of drains for a second, as she says, okay, well...
Fiona, you're right.
I'm right?
Yeah.
What about this time?
Of course, the first time I make friends at this college, it's both with cannibals.
No, I'm not a cannibal. I would never eat my own kind.
You wouldn't eat your own kind?
as she looks and says, "If you want, I can go to your, I can lead you to your dorm, and I can just, we can talk or something."
Yes, I'm about to head there now. It probably would be nice to have some company.
Okay.
Got it. We all need to speak. You, me, the others. Later. There's a situation that we need to deal with. She just gives him a very pointed look.
Now that I'm a bit more sober, I should be able to tell you what I've learned.
She just glances to the drow and goes, maybe in a bit when we are all together to discuss it.
So, do you want to call a session there then?
We'll call the session after you guys go, as you both go to Keon, as all three of you go to Keon's dorm. Yeah?
I meant Keone was gonna go with the drow. That's why she said she was
to her dorm.
Yeah.
I don't think Garter was going, though, was he?
No, the drow is going to Keon's dorm. Are you going to?
I know.
No.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
not going.
three.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. I was confused for a second.
Yeah.
So, you want Garter? You go back to your dorm. Garter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You each head to the dorms, and Garter, you get some well-needed rest in. After, even though you're no longer drunk, you just feel a little loopy.
Gravity hurts.
Yeah. As he comes in.
Rhinoceros beetle.
Your boy,
I just keep saying rhinoceros beetle.
Bucket, as he comes in and says, "Now about last time. We didn't get to finish our conversation, but I am going to do a simple thing. We need to work together and find my old master, Carl. The reason I've been pretending to be such a fool is," as he blinks and looks towards Ruby and says, "because if they know I'm no longer a threat, then they won't hunt me. The devils of the deep will come for us soon enough, but I will make sure that they are delayed." As Bucket the Goblin says that to you, Garter.
What happens next? Find out in the next episode
of Total Drama Island. Thank y'all for coming by to the stream. I hope y'all had a pleasant time. Please, come again.